Good morning. Hey guys. Welcome to Friday Live Insights with the Herd. Today we're going to focus on energy, the energy discussion that we've been having, and I can't wait to get your feedback and experiences and have this conversation and continue this conversation over in the course community. So, for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Crystal Avera. You can see my website is right here. I help give a voice to the horses, really to the animals. That's my calling in life. And I'm so excited to have that horse and soul journey tribe be a part of this journey for me, because it really is my soul's calling to connect community and be a part of a community where we acknowledge and we honor the voice and the master teachings of the horse through the use of not only experiences but also energy, intuition, and guidance, rather than not talking about those things. So welcome and thank you for being here. So again, the discussion today is all about energy, and specifically how the journey that we're on with horses has opened our eyes to the energy, or taught us about the energy, how the animals themselves have introduced us to the energy, and how that can be and is so useful on this journey moving forward with our horses. So I was reflecting on my own journey and just recognizing and acknowledging when the energy started to feel connected, and when I started to really become aware of the energy. It definitely was shown to me and presented to me by the animals. For me, that specifically is the horses, because I, for many years, pursued in a very committed way to be a student of horsemanship. And I also pursued a life where I was a student of the cattle, a herd of about 150 head that I worked with and helped my mentor manage, and then ultimately was managing alone based on the ability that he had taught me and that I had been given through the experience of the time with the cattle, and especially through the energy. So I wanted to share with you today a video that I found from 2013 that I had taken with my iPhone when I was out one day, and it was my responsibility to move the herd of cattle from one pasture to another. It was just time to rotate to a new pasture. And working with this herd really made the biggest and strongest impact on my way of experiencing life with the horse, or with my perspective of life with the horse. So I'm going to show you my screen practicing this. Okay. So if you guys can see this video, please give me a thumbs up or a heart. I'm going to hit play so you can just see. This was sort of my perspective from moving the herd, what we would do. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the big screen. Perfect. So in that video, you can see that I am standing over to the side. So I was on my horse, my mare Jessie, who's the most incredible partner that I've had and the strongest, most impactful teacher that I've had. So that was our job together, and we were over to the side, and you can hear me calling. So I called it the cattle song, and I'm not suggesting that I'm in tune in any way, but it felt like a song to me, and the cattle joined in. So we were over to the side, and we were using the tools that we knew to use, and certainly the cattle had been taught through the use of consistency and also through the use of understanding their preferences and their innate desires and their nature. They had been taught to read the signs and signals and know when it was time to move. And this particular herd would, if I, for instance, would I would set my gates up first, which oftentimes was enough to give them an indicator that we're moving. And of course, they're so pure and so connected to the energy that just my intention alone to move them on any given day would be enough to notify them, and they would start to gather, and they would start to move towards me and be ready to follow me. If that did not happen, once I had my gates set up, the cattle song is what I would use, and I had learned from my mentor. And this herd would start to call back to me, as you saw in the video here, and they would follow me. And also, as you saw in this video, if it was a matter of moving from one pasture to the adjacent pasture, rather than through the alley or through a pasture to get to the new pasture, it would be simple enough to open the gates and close the applicable gates, open the gates where we wanted them to go, and begin to sing the cattle song, and they would simply come through as I waited at the gate. So what does this have to do with energy? Well, it really is the biggest, like I said, the biggest teacher. The time I spent with this herd was the biggest teacher of energy. In my experience, working with a large herd of livestock, and having the intention and the expectation that it was going to be a stress-free experience for the animals, and that it was going to be a relaxing experience versus a chasing experience, which is something that unfortunately happens with cattle all too often. Having that intention means you must work with the energy. It may not be the word that is used, depending on the environment that you're in, but it absolutely is the necessity, the understanding of the energy. So what you can see in this video, for instance, is I'm in position, I'm calling the cattle using a call that they recognize, and they are coming through. But my question is, did you feel the energy underneath it? So what I learned to do through the feelingness of it and beingness with the herd, through just experiencing what would work for them as far as their energetic bubble. In my location, for instance, when I would stand outside the gate or sit on my horse outside the gate, was the use of energy. So I may have to move a little bit forward, or I may have to move a little bit back, but it really depended in that moment on the feeling of the energy So the message the cattle would give me is if I was too close to the gate, or maybe if I was turned a little bit too directly towards them with my eyes and my belly button, the front of my body, that would put potentially would put a pressure on them energetically. If I was too far back from the gate, it may not be enough connection energetically to really communicate to the cattle in a way that would inspire them to action, that it was time to move. So I learned through daily experience about how energy could affect this large group of animals that are so purely connected to all that is, to Mother Earth, to the universe, to everything around us, to the earth, to the trees, to the sky. It's all connected, and these beings are so purely connected that once we open up to it and we ask for the guidance, they offer us unending lessons. So what I'd love to hear is, and learn about from you, is the experiences that you've had with animals, your horse, your herd, Mother Nature in any capacity over the years, and how you've learned to connect to the energy and how that shifted your experience. Because the pursuit of becoming a horseman, which was my absolute focus and intention for many years, that pursuit led me to the place where I could be open to the energy and to the psychic connection that is at the root of who I am today. So how has that happened for you? How have you learned from the animals or Mother Nature when it comes to energy? Let's talk about that in the course community, the community, the free Facebook Horse and Soul Journey community. I would like to also talk about this book, which we've talked a little bit about before. Resources are such a huge part of the journey, the ongoing learning and expanding of our understanding of the energy from trusted resources that are, for me, authentically connected to the energy, are really important. So this book, Reiki Level 1, 2, and Master Manual by Lisa Powers, is so well put together, user-friendly and resonant. Lisa is a really wonderful teacher, and I recommend that you consider this book if you don't already have it. And I wanted to just give you some of the insights to what's in this book that apply to what we're talking about today. So one of the chapters is Reiki applications, and you can see the picture of the dog here. Of course, this really resonates with me and connects with me because of my deep calling to give a voice to the animals. So a lot of the Reiki in my practice is with animals, and through the animals, messages and healing will come oftentimes for their people. So this is an important part of Lisa's work for me that really connects. I'm going to read to you just a little excerpt. Reiki exists in everything. Reiki can be used to help balance anything you choose. So Lisa says, use your imagination and see how Reiki can help you in your life. And then she goes on to list some common things that Reiki can be used on, starting with animals. Lisa says it beautifully that animals are sensitive to energy and they tend to enjoy receiving Reiki. This is a really beautiful experience. Every time I have it, it feels, let's see, the way to describe it is that it, for me, feels like plugging in to, as if there's an outlet in the earth and it's plugging me in and rejuvenating me. Because, of course, as a Reiki practitioner, I'm simply a channel, which means I'm getting the benefit of the Reiki every time I offer a session. And it's such a gift. It's such a blessing for me. And with animals, the beautiful thing is they really will guide me, and they oftentimes will show me physically by moving their body where they want my hands to be. Even though the Reiki naturally goes where it's needed, animals are so connected and so pure that they will make it very clear if they are in need of the energy and if they are accepting it, the energy, but also me in their space at that moment, which is great feedback for how I show up, and also makes it so important that I do what's necessary to get balanced energetically before I ask permission. But animals are so sensitive and to the energy, and every single time that I am in session with an animal offering Reiki or energy medicine, I learn and I expand. So if you are a Reiki practitioner or you're interested in Reiki, I recommend Lisa's book because she talks, gives you some really great insights into her experiences with animals. She also talks about in this chapter plants and vegetation, food and drink, and then other uses like work, past unresolved issues, relationships, and goals. So I thought this was a really great chapter to discuss today because it directly speaks to the powerful benefits that using the energy and specifically Reiki as life force energy can have for our relationship with our horse. I've talked before about the way that I use the energy and Reiki in any session I might be having with my horse if I'm going to go for a ride, or simply going to walk into my horse's space, that reading the energy, going through my rituals that are needed to make sure I show up in the energetically balanced way, and then how to use the energy and the experience with my horse. I've talked about that before, and this chapter directly speaks to how powerful Reiki is for our relationships with our horse, in that you can imagine giving Reiki to the relationship, giving Reiki to your horse, self-Reiki, because it helps balance, it helps heal, it helps open up awarenesses to things that we might previously not have had. So that means opening up the portal to being able to take in those teachings that our horse has for us, and then really just being present. So I marked a few spaces in this book, but this chapter was absolutely one that I think is a really powerful one for those of us on this horse and soul journey. So Lisa Powers, and that's the resource I wanted to share with you today. What resources do you have, or would you recommend to us, that have become important in your life with the energy and your relationship with your horse? And how have your horses, or how has your horse or herd taught you about the energy? Please head on over to the free Facebook group, Horse and Soul Journey, and share with us there about your experiences with energy. And please share any resources with the community, and let's celebrate the energy. Let's celebrate how it's changed our lives. One final thing I want to offer to you guys today is my Transform Live with Your Horse program has gone live, and I had gone into the development phase, and we're finishing that up this week, I expect. It's been really exciting because it's my pilot program, and my intention has been to develop it with the participants based on my original plan, as well as feedback and the needs and questions and insights from the participants. So we specifically are covering how to get really real and clear and raw first, how to connect to the energy, and all about the energy when it comes to our horses and everything that we can learn, as well as the benefits, with some practical applications of energy exercises. And then we're finishing up this week the third phase development, which is the animal communication foundation. So really starting to open up that psychic portal and create and develop a solid foundation with the support of me as well as the community. And I've been having fun and enjoying creating videos of just practical applications of situations you might find yourself in with your horse, and how I go about having those experiences, like bridling or tacking up, and how I might experience or have an experience with my horse, or what I might do if my horse gets excited on the trail, or that kind of thing. So I wanted to offer you guys today the opportunity to buy at the initial pilot program rate, which is $197. And with that, you not only get full access to the course materials for life, as well as any updates I make, which I will be doing after completion of this pilot version. You will also get access to the paid community, and that is where I deliver a lot of the how of what I have learned over the years, and will continually do offer to the community. So if you're interested in that at this initial pilot program rate of $197, please send me a message or make a comment and tag me in the free Facebook group, and I will get you a link, and you have the opportunity to join us for this last week as we continue the completion of the development, and be a part of that. So thanks again for joining me. I will see you next Friday. Aloha.